All right, let's do it.
I'm not ready.
Eh,
I'm ready.
I don't really vote with you niggas. You niggas is clones. All right, let's turn the music off. Yeah, we didn't have any topic today.
It's all right.
Oh, it's Monday. Welcome to Mondays. So I ain't gonna lie to you. Normally I don't like play with fire on camera, but I feel like
But today's the day.
this is a sage moment because the weekend was interesting. A lot of different energies, a lot of different things. Yeah. And maybe, it was funny listening to you talk to Esther, I think it was, about things working and how they work. And my response was like very much like, nah, I needed to make sense, right? Like I don't like things that make sense. Like, oh, it feels good in my heart, right? Which actually leads back to the whole minimalist talk, right? Like it was a joke. I was definitely messing with Esther about it. But at the same time, like Timur's chime in, Sarah's chime in this morning when I was like, Missy, are you a visual learner? And then she goes, some people process differently. It's all on the same spectrum. I'm like, okay, so we watched it happen in real time, right? I gave very specific instructions. So if that works for you, you'd get it. I was like, this goes here, you press this. And then I said, Amy, demo it. She watched Amy do it and literally repeated it. I said, so you're a visual learner. And it was like, this is a spectrum. I have said so many times how I think that is a big trap that a lot of people fall for, right? Yes, you can speak of things on a spectrum. However, they are very much so on a black side or a white side when it comes to whatever you're talking about. In this instance, we were talking about visual or auditory learning. Which one works better for you? You can be a visual learner who responds well to auditory things, but you're still a visual learner. Like the best method of learning for you has to do with something you can see. It's just a learning style. But it's very interesting to me because again, that ties into so many other things, right? Like if we're always trying to create nuance, can we see truth? Right? Like that's where my mind goes. And that's why I was like, I gotta sage this space a little bit because maybe normally there's a break where I like really sage and like pay attention because I don't think most people know, but I'm very intentional in creating space for other people. So I got Naga Champa in the back. I got the white sage with the cedar wood on it. I'm thinking. So we had a nice little intentional, unintentional weekend. A lot of different things talked about, a lot of different things done in excess, really setting up for people in space. The reason I bring this stuff up is because, again, I think a lot of the times we miss the mark on what's happening for us or against us. And the conversation for me felt like just creating division to create division, thinking you're creating space for more understanding.
Or creating misunderstanding. And
Yes, because division leads to misunderstanding in most cases, right? And I spoke on this before. When you come from certain communities, like I like to think based on like where you come from, where you understand. When you come from a poverty-based lifestyle, it is very easy to know perseverance, right? Like the only way to grow from that space is to persevere. And then when you come from spaces where there are more resources and things available, always trying to name a thing, always looking at perfectionism. Like one of the skills I learned because I didn't have much of a choice was not to be perfect. Versus, let's say you come from a middle ground space or a middle class space, perfectionism is like a very big problem for you. Now again, I'm not saying they don't exist across the board. I'm speaking on what your life built for you. What you've done with that is up to you. But what the thing is built looks like and does for you is my conversation. So I do find it a little funny when having these conversations, hearing people talk about them, what they think they're supposed to be. So I'm sorry, guys. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Way into the video. Welcome to Coach's Corner. I am Coach Linden, and this is
Coach Devi here.
And we are here to talk about changing your relationship with food and fitness. If you like this video, please share this video and hit that notification button so you get whenever we do a new Coach's Corner. We're also going to start breaking down some fitness stuff for you guys, so I don't want to miss saying that. just because a lot of people have been asking me, like they want us to break down some of the functional movements we do in here. So I said I think that'd be good too. But really, we opened up our YouTube channel to create whatever our community needs, and if that affects more, if our community grows to your home, sounds good to me, right? I just really wanted it to be something where we could reach people via like what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, and what we do.
Yeah.
So let us know. Questions, shoot them below. So I was thinking, again, I'm thinking about how you get to truth, right? How seeking yourself, being authentic, and how it looks based on space, right? I like to think, for me, it looks like getting to the truth, right? For me, it looks like finding the truth and then going from that truth. So it's just interesting when I talk to specific groups and how those individuals in that group respond, right? Well, that's not the truth because it's got 4 different ways you decipher it. I understand that, but the truth is still the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not knocking your desire to categorize. I'm only knocking if it doesn't seem like truth.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think I've seen that a lot in just conversation with people where it's like I'm speaking my truth, and then there's a but, you know, like someone has a but, and it'll be like, not to knock your opinion down, but,
right,
you know, and then I hear their opinion, and it's like, all right, well, your opinion
definitely knocks my opinion down.
Well, I've had this where what you're actually saying doesn't knock my opinion down. What you're saying emboldens and piggybacks off of what I just said, but the way that you're bringing it to the forefront is it has to be in juxtaposition to what you just said. And I'm kind of referring to like on Saturday when M spoke up and we were talking about rap and hip hop.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. And John spoke up too. It's like, yeah, we agree. What you're saying is 100% true because it piggybacks off of what Dev just said, off of what I just said. And I think there's a lot of miscommunication in that. And like I think it leaves room for there to be misunderstanding, for someone to get defensive. It's like just not seeing the truth in someone's, or trying to disprove someone's truth.
Fair.
Based off of what you're hearing it as.
I would actually say a lot of it, like using that, that was a moment where it was like a very easy draw.
Yeah.
And there was also a moment where they did not want to share what they were thinking. And that was like, they were encouraged by community. It's like, you're surrounded by people you love, people whose opinions you respect and value. This is the place to ask, right? And we've talked about how, you know, sometimes individuals do not think that they're worthy of that space. And that's what you more were hearing than anything else. So the next goal, and this is what I was tying for in general, or the next part of the conversation is actually important. So then there was an agreement there, and then we were moving forward. And then another individual was like, yeah, like spoken word. And I was just like, that's actually not true, right? And it's very something, it can be considered nuancy because spoken word and rap do have similarities. But it was just one of those things where it was like, they're not the same thing. That's why they both exist. If they were the same thing, there'd be no reason for the other, right? This is important. And I understand that when a lot of people are doing the categorizing thing, that's what they're doing. They're trying to elicit why it's different through explanation and using a word as a base for it. Like that's their ground to stand on, right? Damn it. Like something hurt on my nose. What's very interesting to me is how that works. So it's not always in juxtaposition, but I noticed this a while ago, and recently we went to go see the movie The Forge, right? Yeah. So I don't try to push anybody to be Christian like myself. I choose to let people know that I follow a medallion and belief that has made the man that you respect today, and if you'd like to learn more about how to do that for yourself, then you can learn how to do more of that yourself. I'll just share what I've learned, right? But I'd rather be the beacon than be the person feeling like I have to tell you how wrong you are or what you're doing doesn't match what you want. Like I don't feel like that's necessarily right. Yes? So I have spent the last part of my life dedicated to helping people not only see themselves, but listening and making sure that I'm creating space for other individuals in general. Yes. So, I wanted to, again, as we're talking about things, like we do a lot, we set up for people, we make space for people. I just want to be more intentional in the way I do it. And like being intentional looks like a lot of failing, right? Like I just like anybody else will experience like there's a new phase and I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't want it to be bad is more my thought. I don't want it, it's not that I don't want it to be perfect. I actually just don't want it to suck really bad and draw people away from what I'm doing. So instead of perfection, I think I'm seeking excellence to a degree of being still sometimes, right? Which some people would equate to perfection, but ironically, I don't actually look at it as like, it's gotta look exactly like this. I look at it as here I draw. I've noticed, and Carlette sent me this, so I'm doing more of it because it was a great reminder. She sent me a thing that said, in order to, Miles Monroe, Christian man of faith, said, in order to lead the orchestra, you have to turn your back to them first. Right? And I was like, huh? Right? Like to turn and show everyone what's happening, then you can turn back. Like to lead your orchestra, you have to turn your back on the crowd. Right? So there's this piece where the popular opinions and being with people, it works, but it doesn't allow you to cultivate the thing you're trying to create. So there has to be a balance, right? And if you know me, I'm all about balance. I have been probably since the first day you met me. So I want to say that's the overall arching message for me, is creating balance for people. And so many people are out of balance because their opinion is more important than another's, or their life is more valuable than others. Like you can just hear the different things that people say. And when that reality is, we're all important. We all have our roles to play. We all could affect the world in different ways, in great ways. Again, we throw away our potential.
Gifts.
It's crazy. So I want to say in this current phase, I'm thinking very hardly about how I give, what I give, where I give, and then creating in my quiet space, which is hard, right? It's hard to be the person who makes the mistake on the forefront and then ask for forgiveness. It requires a lot of humility to do so. So as I make mistakes as I go, I just keep asking for forgiveness. So I guess using this weekend again, because we only use people's names in positivity. I try not to use people's names for like negative circumstance unless there's a real lesson there, like the one situation we had where we had to mention the individual, just because again there was a truth not being told, and it was important for that truth to be told. Other than that, I try to keep it in stage, but into my community, I will share who I am and what I experience and other things. So watching Sunday Swings go the way it did, like I think people enjoyed the switch up, but it was also like workshoppy. Like it didn't feel like a workout as much. It felt very workshoppy. I would say, things like that are like kind of where we're going.
I enjoyed it because I learned some shit.
Fair. I keep I do realize the more I allow myself to teach, the more that I realize that people really don't get and to see life the same way I do. Right? Like it's I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome. And that one is something I identify with. It's not that I don't think I'm worthy at all times. It's just like I'll go to do a thing and like all the negativity in the world will pop up about how it's impossible. And that is rough on the psyche. So I like to think of it like that. I like to think of it like, man, I got to go back. Like we're going to go home after this. I'm going to try to get some god doggone rest because my nights have been tougher. And LJ's actually getting better, right? We're allowing him to sleep with us, stuff like that. But it's still rough. I think today is the day our sit down comes out for fatherhood, where we sat down and we talked about your worthiness and everything else. And I don't know, man. I just lost like a whole week's of coaches' quarters.
Yeah, I don't think I was thinking about that. You said that. I was like, I don't think they're lost forever. Yeah, I think they're gonna pop up when the time is right. Because there's some gems in there, and I think maybe we don't need them right now.
I mean, I trust the process.
Yeah.
So like, quite literally. If they're gone for a reason. So I trust the process. It does suck to know like you built a thing and now you don't have access to a thing. But here we are starting again. And ironically, I do have enough to cover us for the entire week. So it wasn't even a true loss.
True loss, yeah.
Yeah. So it was crazy.
Got some good backup.
Yeah. No, actually,
chill.
just the way last week went, I just didn't post stuff like that. Like my mind is all over the place, and I think a lot of it has to do with shifting the family. I love being here for you guys, but part of the reason I do what I do is for the family I have at home. And when the family at home is in chaos, everything else is harder. When my home is wrong, everything else is more difficult. The last thing I want to do is cut off the home to function for the tribe.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just don't want to do
Well,
that.
that's how you fill your cup.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So to do it the opposite way around doesn't always feel nice, you know. So lately I've been doing the deep dive of being there for family, and it is rough, right? Like lots of sleepless nights, and then in that space trying to get back to myself. So, a little rough, very very sleepless nights. I think I'm on 3 hours today. Yeah, it's a lot of like let me go home and rest when I get the chance now. Which is fine. It's tough. So, look, that was the cue right there.
Yeah, I saw that. We both noticed that. It's like, all right, cut it here.
So we want to thank you all for actually listening today. Again, if you like the video, share the video, and again, hit that notification button. You can find us on all forms of social media. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook under the moniker Getting It Daily. And I'm just kind of looking forward to what we're doing, man. Like really separating the things, not just sitting in here and just talking, just really building something to be proud of.
Yeah.
It is scary, exciting, and also exhausting, but all worth it. I've not had a part of this journey that hasn't been worth it yet.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you all for listening. Until next time, this is Coach Linden,
Coach Devi here.
and we'll see you next time.
Peace.